you for being here. I think the tradition of the mountain is that people take care of their neighbors. And so it always restores my faith in humanity to come to a group where people are really worried about taking care of other folks. And to give you a little bit of background, Manna Food Bank works in the 16 most western counties of North Carolina. And last year we distributed about 10 million pounds of food. About 500,000 of that came to Madison County. And what I always say is, it wasn't enough. And even with the federal nutrition programs going on right now, there's been a lot in the news about food stamps, but food stamps really were never meant to cover all of the food needs for a family or an individual. So what we found is that most of the time people are running out 2.5 to 3 weeks into the month. And so that last week is really critical. And the way that we find out about that is that we get calls a lot of times from seniors. And I was dealing with one recently who couldn't get her insulin regulated because she was diabetic. And that last week of the month, there just wasn't the same amount of food, and sometimes no food in the house. And so her glucose kept bottoming out. And so it can be a life or death issue for folks. I'll tell you another story. I was out at a pantry called Loving Food Resources that deals with hospice patients and critically and terminally ill members of the community. You have to be really pretty ill to be part of that program to get food from them. And they have very specialized menus that they give to people just that they know they're getting them high quality, high nutrient dense food. And they ran out of meat the morning that I was there. So they only had enough meat for about a third of the folks who came in. They had eggs to cover it, but that venison is a really big deal. It really makes a difference for people. If you look at the people who are dealing with food insecurity, a lot of times it's hard to recognize. When I sit down at a pantry, we don't really talk about, my kids ate lunch on Friday at school and then they really didn't have anything until they went back on Monday morning. That isn't the conversation we have. We talk about their gardens, or we talk about when school is going to get out, or what the kids are going to do during the summer. And it's kind of an epidemic. Right now, 1 in 6 people, 1 in 6 adults in Western North Carolina is accessing food from a Manna Partner pantry. 1 in 4 children is dealing with food insecurity. And the way I say it is next time you go to the mall or a church or, I don't know, some big place, just start counting. I mean, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That many people are coming to a food pantry or getting food through the backpack program at Manna. And then there's a whole slew of people who are just struggling, who don't ever come for help. And that means that they aren't eating. We deal with seniors sometimes who are eating 1 meal a day so they can save their calories. I've talked to folks who were out of work and the wife was saving her calories and only eating once a day so her husband who was working could get those calories, and she had applications out in 5 counties. And I think that's really what's been happening recently is that we have people who are just scraping by, and then the gas went up to almost $4 a gallon, and food has gone through.
You mentioned, the protein need.
Yes.
I know a lot of food donations come in. I know when we went to the food pantry up in Barnersville,
Yes.
Marcella up there addressed the fact that they get a lot of produce during the summer, of course, a lot of local farmers. They get baked goods, they get a lot of stuff, but how severe is the protein need in this community?
I don't know if I can put a percentage to it, but I will tell you that people will eat, beyond the 6%, people will eat the food that is cheap. And what is cheap at the grocery store is macaroni and cheese and pasta and bread. And we deal with an awful lot of folks. We've had seniors come into Manna who, this one woman just kills me when it's a senior. And she said, I've never had to come ask for help before, but I've been eating nothing but fried bread for the last 3 days and I just can't stand it anymore. And so we see an awful lot of that. We see a lot of, some of the obesity that we see sometimes in pantries is because people are eating very low nutrient dense,
Low quality food,
and it's cheap. Yeah, so the protein is a big deal. It's a really big deal.